Hey everyone, it's Michael, GoosebumpsFan. I hope you're doing well today. I have another book review for you for a Give Yourself Goosebumps book. Basically, if you don't know what this is, as always, I try to put this out there so people will know. And in case this happens to be your first review from me personally, or the first time you've ever heard of a GYG book, Give Yourself Goosebumps happens to be a Choose Your Own Adventure series from Goosebumps. It came out around the same time. All 45 or so books came out around the same time the original series was still coming out. Anyway, this particular one is number 25. I decided not to read them in order. I was going to read after the previous one I reviewed earlier today, which was In the Jungle of Doom, I think is what it was called. Again, a lot of things, a lot of details are going out of my brain because of how rough that one was. I wanted something that would be a nice palate cleanser, maybe had a little bit more hope to it. I knew nothing about this. Of course, I typically don't read the blurbs when I go into this, or these books when I review them. I just kind of start them, read them, maybe scan over the blurb at some point, and then talk about them on camera. So this particular one is number 25, Shop Till You Drop Dead. This one's a pretty, kind of a boring cover, kind of a boring monster here too. Not really anything to write home about, but I will say this. For the kind of bland cover that we have, and the kind of bland border redesign they had been doing at this current time, they used to have like holographic covers and stuff like the previous book I reviewed called In the Jungle of Doom, or whatever it was called. I like those old holographic covers. I like the old art better. For what this book's cover shows, it doesn't look like it would be a great book. And it actually was a great palate cleanser compared to the previous one I read and reviewed. This is a great one. I really enjoyed it. It's not perfect by any means. It has its flaws. I have my complaints. But for a Choose Your Own Adventure book and a Give Yourself Goosebumps book, I really liked it a lot. I really recommend this one. I don't think this one was that hard to get your hands on either, from what I remember. I could be wrong, but maybe. Shop Till You Drop Dead. What is this one about? Basically, you and your friend Julie have struck up a deal with a fella named Reggie. I assume he's either like a school buddy or a bully of some sort. I don't really know what he is. They never really specify as far as I remember. He's just kind of somebody, some kid you know, who happens to have a dad who owns a shop called like something Bizarre. I don't know. It's like Bizarre Palace. I don't know. Basically, it's a 7-story building that is a shopping store, kind of like a mall type of thing, but not really as large of a mall. Something, just a big old store. Feels like something that would be in like a New York type of place or something. Anyway, each floor has a particular item on a list that Reggie gave to you and your best friend Julie that you have to find as you spend 1 hour, just one single hour, inside of this building. And all 7 floors, like I said, you have to go through each one to try to get one particular item on his list. And you don't really know about that item thing until, you know, a little bit later on in the story, but pretty much all of the roads point back to that. Typically, the way the GYG books go, you have a particular choice that divides up where you're going to go for the other half of the book. And the book will actually typically be split into 2 halves. And you'll go through each storyline, kind of leading you to a different end. There's about 20 different endings to these books. And unlike the previous book that really didn't have the greatest endings, it kind of just was a bland, boring book overall. This one had a lot of great death scenes if you die in the story. There's a lot of good ones, and yes, you can die in Goosebumps, and especially Give Yourself Goosebumps. This one was very creative, very fun. It was just an enjoyable read all around. I really dug this one, and compared to the previous one that I reviewed, again, In the Jungle of Doom, that one typically didn't feel like a Stein book. It didn't feel like he even wrote it, and these books are confirmed to have some ghostwriters involved, apparently, if not a lot of the time, which would not surprise me. But if you've read that previous one, you probably know where I'm coming from. Whereas this one is very silly. It has a good amount of humor, but it also can be kind of tense at times. There's a lot of focus on some scary imagery in here, particularly mannequins. It being a shopping center, there's a lot of mannequins in this particular building, especially on floor number 1, I think is what it was. And those mannequin scenes are great. It's not just like a scary thing. Some of them are kind of funny. And it worked. All of it worked. Tonally, it just is a great read. Very engaging, very fun in general. That's the big word I want to use for this. Like, I typically try to find one particular word that really describes and maybe even sells the book to you. This one's fun. It's a fun read. And the big choice that you start off this book with when you first get inside, for that 1 hour of time you have to spend inside of this building to win the bet with Reggie and his dad, I guess, too. To win anything inside of the store, by the way. You get to pick anything in the entire building, no matter the price, if you win this entire night, which is kind of nice. Basically, as you go through this, you pick up little things here and there that'll help you throughout the story. And it kind of sucks if you get to certain moments in the book where you don't have certain items you need. Of course, I've seen this in previous books before of GYG, but I thought it was worth mentioning here that it's back as a system in here. It's almost like playing a video game in some odd ways. But again, the sets themselves, I really like the set pieces, I really like the events, I really like the creatures that show up here, the monsters, I really dig. There's a cool twist on the 7th floor, which is considered the final floor of confrontation. I really dig that. There's a particular elevator that you have to go to basically hit each floor of the building throughout the story. I really like that. I thought the kind of first humorous set piece we had was at the very beginning. You basically walk into the building after Reggie lets you in and locks you in, and you see a piece of paper hanging up that essentially tells you to start on floor number, and it looks like a 1, but it might also be a 7, and immediately your character in the story, which is just you are the main character of these books, essentially just trashes Reggie's handwriting immediately. I thought that was fun. I thought it was really goofy. I love the book. I really did. I had a great time. Again, it's not perfect. Some of the things in here don't really hit the way I think they should. Some are a little bit too comedic, which is fine. No real complaints. It's a kid's book. I get it. But a lot of it I think really works for me personally. My kind of sense of humor, the kind of tone that I like from Goosebumps when we go more of this route. And I like the setting. I like that whole setup of a dare and kind of a bet on whether you and your friend Julie can make it through this whole 7-floor place. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Dread movie, a little bit. Anyway, I don't really have much more to say about this book. It's kind of a shorter review, kind of rounded up and over with. It's a good one. I recommend it a lot. Really solid one. Not a great one. Not like perfect or amazing, but just a really great fun read. Something different. Something, again, as a palate cleanser. If you've read a couple of really bad books recently, which I've only read one as of that I finished up today. I've read it over the last couple of days. That one was rough. I'm glad I'm done with it. This one was really solid. I'm really kind of made up for why I love GYG books. Just when I thought I wasn't going to get many good ones that I really, really dug. Anyway, when it comes to Goosebumps, or Give Yourself Goosebumps, number 25, Shop Till You Drop Dead. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you love GYG or if you've never tried it, this is a great place to start for GYG. It's not like the best example ever of what these books typically feel like, the way they play as a character, or as a book, as a game book. But it is fun. I do recommend it. I think it's a really solid one. If I had to rate it on a 5-star basis, I'd give it a 4 out of 5 stars. I think it's a pretty solid rating for a pretty great, solid read for the most part. Again, it has its moments I disagree with, in the sense of I just thought they could have went a better direction or whatever, but for the most part, I really liked it. Thought it was fun. So have you read this one? What did you think about it? Put your thoughts and comments down below, folks. I would love to hear what you have to say about Shop Till You Drop Dead. Great book. Should have been about Black Friday. That'd be great. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Put them down below, guys. Thank you for watching. God bless you, and goodbye.